In the vast television universe where sitcoms orbit around laugh tracks and primetime slots, The Big Bang Theory shone like a neutron star, dense with wit, packed with pop culture, and oddly magnetic. Its ensemble of lovable geniuses, and one often lost engineer, captured audiences with their quirks, their quantum-level banter, and their romantic entanglements. But amid the chaos of comic book debates, string theory disputes, and awkward dating lives, one character stood out in a different way, not for his brilliance or bravado, but for his quiet despair and surprising relatability. That character was Stuart Bloom, the soft-spoken, ever-melancholic owner of the Comic Center of Pasadena. And by season 6, back in 2013, 12 years ago, it became clear, Stuart wasn't just a background character anymore. He had evolved into something more complex, more human, and possibly even more intriguing than the central cast. That was the moment The Big Bang Theory unknowingly proved a Stuart spinoff could not only work, it could thrive. The underdog with the tragic charm, Stuart first appeared in season 2 as a mild-mannered comic book store owner with a surprising flair for art and an unsuccessful romantic encounter with Penny. At first glance, he seemed like a one-off, a plot device to stir Leonard's jealousy. But then Stuart kept showing up, and each time, he carried a little more emotional weight. He became the show's Eeyore with a sketchpad. Lonely, broke, awkward, and slowly unraveling, yet always trying. Unlike Sheldon's cosmic confidence or Leonard's nervous charm, Stuart offered audiences something rare in sitcoms, a character who was failing, quietly, persistently, but never completely giving up. By 2013, Stuart's role had deepened. When Howard went to space, Stuart filled in with Mrs. Wolowitz. Instead of a punchline, it became a character-defining arc. Watching him navigate the strange domestic life of a Jewish grandmother's home, awkwardly bonding with a loud, unseen maternal force. It was oddly touching, even absurdly profound. And it was funny, not in the traditional sense of setup and punchline, but in a dry, pathetic, Beckett meets Sandler sort of way. That contrast, between Stuart's bleak life and the colorful world of comics, was pure potential for a spin-off. A premise written in panels. Imagine a spin-off series titled Stuart's Sketchpad, or even simply, Comic Center. It would take place mostly inside his crumbling comic book store, a location that had already proven visually iconic. Bright comic book covers line the walls, juxtaposed against dim fluorescent lighting and Stuart's increasingly desperate efforts to stay afloat. The show wouldn't try to replicate The Big Bang Theory's ensemble dynamic or scientific jargon. Instead, it would shift genres slightly, into something closer to Louie, Atlanta, or BoJack Horseman. Minus the animation. Still comedic, but laced with pathos, surreal humor, and slices of real-life disappointment. Each episode could follow Stuart's interactions with the niche community his store attracts. Obsessive collectors, lonely teenagers, cosplayers, struggling artists, and fringe weirdos. Occasionally, familiar faces from TBBT could appear. Perhaps Raj drops by to talk about his latest heartbreak, or Howard brings baby Haley for a comic-themed birthday party. But the core would remain Stuart and his struggle to find meaning amid the cardboard cutouts and unopened action figures. 12 years ago, when The Big Bang Theory leaned more into Stuart's loneliness, it laid the groundwork for this exact show. There was even an episode where Stuart joins the gang for dinner because he's so utterly alone. The laugh track plays, but under it all is a whisper. This is kind of sad, but also kind of real. That tension, between humor and heartbreak, is what makes great television. Why it could work in the age of reboots and spin-offs. Young Sheldon, anyone, Stuart's character offers something fresh. Unlike Sheldon, whose genius makes him almost alien, Stuart is immediately relatable. He's a man on the edge of society, overlooked, underappreciated, and hanging on by the frayed edges of a Spider-Man cape. 12 years ago, audiences began to feel that relatability. We laughed at his misfortunes, his store catching fire, his failed dates, but we also rooted for him. There's an inherent dramatic engine in watching someone try to build something from nothing, and in Stuart's case, that something could be a better version of himself, or just enough money to fix the broken toilet in the back. With the right creative team, the tone could walk that fine line between sitcom absurdity and indie melancholy. Think The Office meets High Fidelity with a splash of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Maybe there's a love interest, an out-of-work actress who takes a part-time job at the store. Maybe a teenage protege starts helping Stuart manage inventory and reminds him of the person he used to be. Maybe the landlord threatens to shut the place down unless Stuart pays 5 years of back rent. Comedy gold, but with emotional stakes. A portrait of the artist as a sad, middle-aged man. What elevates this hypothetical spin-off is Stuart's secret talent. He's an artist. That's how we met him, remember? Sketching portraits. The show could tap into this artistic side as a narrative tool. Each episode could open or close with one of Stuart's sketches, a visual metaphor for the episode's theme. In one, he draws a superhero with broken wings. In another, a customer asks for a commission, and what he creates helps them deal with grief or identity. His art becomes more than a job. It becomes a way to say what he can't say aloud. Art as emotional catharsis. Humor as survival. Comics as a lens for the human condition. Conclusion. The missed opportunity, or the future. In retrospect, The Big Bang Theory was a brilliant sitcom with many breakout characters. But Stuart Bloom was special. He didn't fit in, and he didn't need to. 12 years ago, the writers began showing us a different kind of story through him. Not one of scientific genius or romantic comedy, but one of quiet resilience. If television is about reflection, then Stuart's story mirrors the struggles of many in the audience more than Sheldon ever could. We've all felt forgotten. We've all struggled to keep the lights on. We've all wondered if our passions are enough to keep us going. A Stuart spin-off could have been beautiful. And who knows, maybe it still could be. Let me know if you'd like this edited into screenplay format or expanded with episode ideas or character sketches.